we saw some explosive news that kind of came to light, which is literally a future possible presidential candidate. Well, he's a presidential candidate now. He's now a felon. Donald Trump got convicted on, I believe, 34 counts.
Every single one.
On every one, right?
Every one.
Convicted on counts of, see, the term of the charge is like weird because
Falsifying business records.
I didn't even know that was a felony.
Yo, you never heard of it. You would think that if they prosecute that charge the way they did Trump, you would have heard of a lot of people going down for that.
I would think that would be a fine. Oh, okay, you fucked up on this paperwork. You made this mistake. Yo, you got to pay $20,000. You got to pay whatever. This is supposedly, which I've never heard of, a Class E felony that I've heard that has never really been prosecuted. Now, here's the thing. The world is so political, right? I look at it for what it is. I'm like, listen, I never heard about people getting paperwork felonies for some business shit. But when I look at it on the surface, my boy just paid off his side chick. His little side hoe was ready to run her mouth. You know, he's basically saying, hey, listen, take this money, shut the fuck up. I'm going to be president. Obviously, she took the money for a while. And then later, they realized, oh, maybe the way he gave her the money was like, was not really proper. And they're coming at him for that. I don't really give two fucks, but you tell me what the hell is the big deal about this? Or is this one of those things where like it's karma, where it's like, if we can't catch you for the real bad shit you're doing, even if we catch you for nothing, you deserve it.
Yeah, I mean, look, if we take any billionaire
yeah,
and we put his entire life under a microscope, and then we start taking the people around that billionaire and we put their whole lives under a microscope. And then we charge the people in that billionaire's orbit with crimes. And then we tell them to tell us everything they know about everything we've been looking at with the microscope. You're going to find some dirt. Okay, now what did we find? We found out that a billionaire pays women that he's slept with to remain silent. Oh my God, America.
Yeah. I was like, if you can't pay a side chick off, it's like, yo, what's going on?
Well, if you're gonna sit there and be like, oh my God, like I just assume that that's what all these fucking people do. Like I just assume that, and if we catch them doing it, I assume we'll penalize them if they did it in a way that cheats the tax code or whatever.
Yeah.
Never in a million years.
Never a felony.
Would I assume that you would catch 34 counts, that you would be on some fast track rocket docket criminal trial where the shit goes to a jury in like record time. And that then, even though you have zero criminal history, you've never ever been convicted of a goddamn thing in your life, people are seriously contemplating jailing you for that act. That is a perversion of our criminal justice system. And it speaks to the larger point that the way our system is set up, the actors within the system have tremendous discretion and influence into how the system operates. And the system is not foolproof. It is only as good, as infallible as the operators. And today, in America, where are the operators? Where are the Brian Steeles? Where are the people who act out of a sense of duty and conviction to a higher set of principles? Not how they feel that day, not which way the political winds are blowing. And if you tell me that the prosecutors in New York or the prosecutors in Delaware who put a microscope under Hunter Biden's life and decided to charge him with...
What do you think about that?
Bro, if
his shit look a little bit more serious. Look like he got caught with some crack pipes, a couple of guns.
Nah, he got charged with the Kodak charge. So
What's that?
Kodak got hit with... Kodak applied for a gun, and on the gun application, they asked you...
Oh, they ask you a million things. That little ATF form?
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
So
I filled it out. I filled it out 50 times.
Yeah, so Kodak had a series of convictions, and they asked you, have you ever been convicted of a felony? He said no, and so they charged him with it. Okay. Now, the question in the Kodak case was, did he actually know whether his convictions qualify under the answer, right? Are we going to hold this man to criminal charges if he had a legitimate belief that he was answering the question correctly?
And by the way, on those forms, like I've filled one out before, and sometimes it's one of those you got to check no, 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 no. Like I've done one where I check no, 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 and then at the end there's one you're supposed to check yes. It's like, hey, are you going to transfer this firearm to someone else who might not have a license? But I already checked a bunch of no's. I'm not reading all this shit. No, 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 no. And then the person who works at like that licensed FFL is saying, hey, no, oh, no, you sure this is what you want to answer? And then I'm like, oh, okay, I made a mistake, right? Now, that's a federal form, right? Like, if they submit it to the government with, like, my signature, it would be like, well, you've just now broken a federal crime, like a federal law. And that's what, you're right, Kodak went to jail for that. Is that what
So Hunter Biden is charged with applying for the firearm, getting the firearm as a revolver. He got it. So he has 3 charges. One is lying on the application. One is, I think, lying on an application that was then transmitted over federal wires or something. And then third is having illegal possession because he bought the gun, but based on a false application. So when he's possessing it, he's now possessing it illegally. That's what the 3 counts are. But here's my question to America. Is that what we're doing? We're prosecuting people who we believe that they were in the deep throes of a crack addiction. We believe this man was addicted to crack. A millionaire, the son of a senator, was addicted to crack. And when he was addicted to crack, what he did was he said on an application, hey, do you use any drugs, or are you a user of illegal drugs?
Oh, is that why? Oh, I thought it was a felon or something.
No, he wasn't a felon.
Oh, yeah, because one of the questions is, are you addicted to blah, 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 blah?
He's not a felon. He was not caught with crack. He was not drug tested for crack. He did not have crack and a gun on him. What they charged him with is that you knew you were a crack addict when you said no to that question. Which is like, bro, maybe he thought he wasn't a crack addict.
Yeah, like y'all never seen a crackhead say, yo, I'm a crackhead.
Or even then, he's a fucking crackhead. You can like put him in rehab. Yeah. But how does that
that's one of the most ridiculous questions on there, because you have to do this you're administering this self-awareness thing of you admitting you're admitting your addictions. And I'm not too big on knowing the process of addictions. But I think a lot of it is people not deny or not admitting they have an addiction. Yeah, bro. So it's like that's criminalizing that now.
And I'm not saying crack is good. I'm not saying answering no on that application is good. I am questioning, though, when the resources of the federal government, when the resources of the United States Attorney's Office are just laser focused on bringing to justice that man. Because I ask the American public, how much energy should we be putting in to that dude getting a revolver and not disclosing that he uses crack? Is that like a safety issue for us? You guys worried about Hunter Biden murdering people? Or is the concern really that the operators of our system look at Hunter Biden and go, oh, is that a Biden? They going after Trump? We're going to go after a Biden. And where does that end? Where does that tit for tat bring you, America?
Oh, no. I definitely think we're in Hunger Game politics now.
That's it.
Which means, hey, listen, if you don't win, you dead. Like, you're going to jail.
Here's the scary part. You asked me this earlier. Mo, what was the end goal? Why are you making these videos? You making any money?
Yeah.
Why are we in Hunger Game politics? What's going on at the political level? How much money do people make based on what our politicians do? Because if there's not tremendous amount of money changing hands based on shifts in political winds, would anyone give a fuck? Y'all think this shit is about abortion? Y'all think this shit is about immigrants? Those are the things that they talk about to divide us. What this shit is about is that when one set of people is in power, there are groups that benefit financially. And so they press and they push to have their people there. And the rest of us, we're not even a part of it. We're just fucking accessories. We're window dressing on the real game that's going on, which is that the American government and American business are one and the same. And the greatest trick America ever pulled is convincing the world that we are anything but everybody else. Oh, Russia's some oligarchy. The Arabs are just a bunch of sheiks. The Chinese are just a bunch of fucking the Communist Party oppressing their people. Who are we? We're freedom. We're democracy. We're the place where we reward talent and merit and hard work. Or are we the place where when we feel, hey, this not good for me, I'm going to use whatever power I can and put that person in a fucking hole because I don't give a fuck. It helps me.
Yeah, I definitely think that, well, for me, I have a different, the same perspective, but I'm kind of indoctrinated to it in the sense of, I also believe that, most of the infighting we see just usually between Democrats, Republicans, and black, white, or, trans, gay, straight is really, distractions for the real shit going on. I was born in Jamaica, right? And I was born in the countryside of Jamaica. I came up here right before 9/11. And politics, at least in the country I grew up in, it meant life or death. Like, I'm speaking as someone who my uncle almost got killed over talking politics in the town square because other people was like, hey, you're spreading the ideology of the other side. And what gets everybody fed here is that these people are in power. I grew up in a rural town in the countryside that we didn't have phone lines in our house. We had a public phone. The town to the left of us and the town to the right of us did. Why? We didn't vote for the power for the party that won. That's how they treated the ramifications of politics. When no one could think of that over here. Like, imagine the Republicans win and they're like, oh, that's a Democrat ran whatever. You get nothing. They get everything. So I've seen that, right? The resources, and they would have these government contracts for fixing the road, and you have a bunch of poor people. Everybody wants them. We're only giving the contracts to the people who voted for us, right? So what do you get when that happens? You get people who get really heated and realize that this is life or death. Who we vote for, who we support, have to win. What does that turn into? Turns into what we're now seeing here. Maybe that didn't happen in the United States, but you know what's happening now? The people who didn't win, they don't get to be like, oh, okay, it was just good game.
That is happening now.
No, that's what I'm saying. It's happening now. You don't get to be like, okay, good election. We'll try again, come up with some new policies. You die or you go to jail. You go away. And the way that we could keep winning is that the people who try to keep winning, it's like a coup. Except you try to do it in a democratic format. If you didn't win the election, you go to jail. Yeah. If you didn't win the election, you're going to never be heard from again. You're going to be fighting legal battles forever. And I think that's what we're now seeing in America. I don't know if it's always existed, but it's very clear and blatant to the average regular Joe that I think before, even if they were doing that, they were a little bit more disguised. Like now it's like, wait, you're not even going to disguise the bullshit? You're just going to do it in plain air.
The emperor has no clothes. You can see them for what they are.
And also to your point, we had this thought of America being the best country in the world. I mean, I still think it is, but it makes us start having these questions of, are we that much different than other people?
You know what the difference is?
What?
In Jamaica, it actually made sense for y'all to participate in the politics because you had a direct voice. Mm-hmm. If you vote for the dude,
100%.
You're going to get that benefit.
100%.
Today, the American public has been excluded from the political games that are being played.
True.
Because we're not getting the rewards. We're not actually participating. The benefit of being affiliated with these parties, we don't even know. They don't even tell us. We can't even begin to comprehend the interests that are at play for these politicians. We're completely outside of it. For the massive American public, you're going to go to your job, you're going to work your 9 to 5, you're going to get Medicare, Medicaid, and you're going to just eat it and be happy, and that's your life. Okay, but there's actually a much bigger game being played. And there are people who directly benefit just the way those Jamaican people were benefiting when those wars were happening. But today, you can't even tell me who those people are who are benefiting. You guys, we won't even understand it because they don't tell us any of it. But just look at the size of our federal government. Look at the amount of money that we give out. Trillions of dollars in defense contracts. I'll tell you a quick story. You know why we entered World War I?
Tell me.
Look this up. Because for the longest, I grew up in Queens. I went to public school. And I believe that we entered World War I because we were on the side of good. There was evil on one side and we were on the side of good. Well, one strand of thought, one argument, something that scholars will put out there, is that we entered World War I for a simple financial reason. The Allies were losing very badly. England is getting their butt handed to them. France is fucked. France has been run over. And England, France, and the Allies actually had borrowed a ton of money from us because we would send them weapons and they'd say, we'll pay you when we can pay you. And so they send a letter. This was sealed back then because there was the War Secrets Act and you couldn't actually tell this. But you can see it now, and a letter comes from Europe to the Americans that says, hey, we owe you about $6 billion. And if we lose this war, we will not pay you. And if the Germans win, I don't think they're going to cover our debts. So you need to get the fuck over here because it's in your interest. And that's why we went to it. I believe that's why we went to World War I. And that never changes. The idea that people are driven by financial incentives, especially when you have outsized financial incentives. I'm not going to give you $10 an hour or $100 for a day of your work. No. You get on this party, you're going to hit one bag. You never have to work again a day in your life. How easy is it to buy your allegiance with unlimited fucking money?
Of course.
And so we enter World War I. We fucking send our boys out there. They get fucking blown off the face of the earth with some of our own weapons, by the way, because the Germans, first off, we sold to the Axis powers before we joined the war. So we joined the war years later.
We sold to the Ops.
We've been selling to both sides.
Man.
So when we get there, some of our own shit is being used against us. And that history just repeats itself over and over again, where people who stand to make tremendous money from decisions will make that decision. You know, I strongly believe that members of our military service, you know, if you're an armed service member, you should have an outsized influence and say in whether or not we go to war. Today, we go to war when fucking a couple people say we're going to war because it's not even a declaration of war. The war in Iraq, nobody declared that we're going to war. It's just like, yo, I'm going. Executive order, fucking bomb them. And it's scary, man, because if we continue to go down this road, this tit for tat, tit for tat, tit for tat, every day we're losing these opportunities to actually do the work. You know, nobody wants to do the work anymore these days. Everybody just wants to ride the gravy train. But we could do the work. We got people in our communities across this country that are looking for life, for joy, for celebration. And instead of focusing our efforts on being a country, a community that provides that, look at all of our discourse. Look at all of our us versus them arguments and polarization. It's a goddamn shame, and it's all built off of this concept that the United States of America makes a shit ton of fucking money, and that money trickles down to a few people. And those people wield the power to shape conversations. They wield the power to shape where our efforts are put. And they don't give a fuck about people. All they care about is more and more and more money. We just got out of COVID. One of the most dramatic, stark, craziest events of a lifetime. Nobody in this country is ready to process what happened. You can't talk about it. You can't even start to unpack how the fuck did we act like that? And what are we going to do the next time we have a challenge in this country?
I mean, you're absolutely right. Again, our democracy is definitely, and really just like the political structure that's at play in this country. We're starting to see shit that we didn't think was possible, right? You know, I'm gonna be honest with you. I do think we're in the era of win or go to jail. It's not win or go home. Win or go to jail, right? It's like I'm pretty sure maybe the sentencing for Hunter Biden gets pushed back a little bit, right? Because there's going to be an election, just like, you know, they're saying they're going to sentence Trump, but we'll see what happened there. And maybe the only reason why they don't be like, no, he has to go to jail is because, you know, the RNC is going to be like, yo, he's a candidate. Like, you're going to look crazy. So they might push that back. But here's the thing. I think if Trump becomes president, he's going to like start nudging a few people, put Hunter Biden in fucking jail. And I think that if Biden basically gets another 4, his people are gonna be like, listen, fuck Fonnie Willis and whatever she got going on over there. Look like she's not gonna get the job done. We got to get him on the rate of the Mar-a-Lago stuff because look, he had all this information just at his crib. We got him here. Let's get everything together. If we can't get him to jail, which that would be just so like that would be so crazy. You know what I mean? It's like, yo, I'm watching the YSL case. I'm like, yo, Brian Steele is about to do as much time in jail as Gunna. Like, yo, this is crazy.
They'd have He'd have Secret Service in prison.
Yeah, but still,
the Secret Service would have to serve. They'd have shifts, and they'd be there with them.
Do you really want to live in a country like? And I think the people who hate Trump, because now we're on, I think they call it maybe identity politics. Like people that don't like Trump, they don't give a fuck why he got convicted. They're just saying fuck him.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Rather than say, yo, hold on now. If this is going on, me myself personally, whether it's Hunter Biden or Trump, if we're in a country where they're so quick to throw a former highly elected official in jail because maybe it might help the other party or whatever the case is, or they have access to grind, what chance do I stand? You know what I mean? What chance do you stand if Trump is getting treated like that? I usually thought, look at the police officers. When they do something wrong, they just kind of be like, yo, turn your body cam off and let's just try to smooth this shit over. We can't have you getting fired. What the fuck? Now it's like, but, and I'm not opposed to everyone getting the same treatment, but expedited trials. Let's prosecute a felony that people usually don't prosecute. It's a little concerning to me.
The big concern to me is the opportunity cost. That while we spend all this time at each other's political necks, and while these people spend all this time on their vendettas, what they're not doing. We have the opportunity in America today, as the only people with access to the semiconductor chips that we have the opportunity to create a whole new world that provides for our people, that solves so many of society's problems. And essentially, what government has done on that front is, we're not going to do anything. We're just gonna let the rich people invest in a couple tech companies, and we'll let the CEOs of those tech companies do whatever the hell they want, because we all got money, we got kids, we got vacation homes. I got fucking amazing dinner plans tonight. If y'all are having a tough time in your life, that's on you. Go figure that shit out. Goodbye. And that's the world we live in today. And until there is, a significant, organic, people-powered movement where people actually just say that, yo, even though this isn't going to change my now or my week or my month or my year or my 5 years or my 10 years, I'm still going to take an interest in it. And I'm still going to dedicate some time into things that are shaping the world that we live in, because I don't think the world is hopeless, and I don't think my life is just the popcorn that I eat and the air that I breathe. I think I'm a part of a fabric of society, and I want it to look a certain way. And unless there's just a massive, massive, massive change, because the tide is clear. People are caring less and less. People are ready to slap fucking Vision Pros on their hand, accept all the fucking...
Strolling.
Bro, I'll accept this permission, that permission, that permission. I'll pay that fee. I'm good. We got fucking 42% THC, the Casamigos. I'm good.